Can you hear me, Bashar? You there, Bashar?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, good. So today I'm gonna cover DNS. What DNS means is it's a domain name system. Okay, so what is the domain name system? So I have this definition here. This is actually a very big, deeper topic, but as an admin and engineer, you don't have to worry about too much because there will be a separate DNS team who is handling all this. But you would know, it would be nice for you to know a little bit, okay? So what DNS is, it's like a phone book, like a phone number, but internet recognizes the number. What number it recognizes? IP address. So when you type this number into the browser, it will recognize this number. So for us to be able to like remember this number all the time, it's not going to be easy for you. What you will remember is you will just remember the name. You will just remember the name of the computer or the system. So for example, you type ping google.com. Okay, so this is the IP address of the Google. So if you put this into the browser, it will go to the Google. What we as a humans do, we just type google.com, right? We type google.com. That's because we know how to do that. We just remember the words. If I type this number, what's going to happen is this is the number. Actually the browser recognizes it and hit enter. See, there you go. You didn't type google.com, but you typed the number, IP address, it took you to Google. Let's check it out. Couple other things. Ping cnn.com. Okay, so this is the IP address of the CNN. So if I type this number in there, it's going to go to CNN. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so let's try it again. 192. Okay, it's not working. Try ping Google yahoo.com. Okay, so let me copy this IP address for the Yahoo and see if it's going to go to Yahoo. Okay, I'm not typing yahoo.com. I'm typing the IP address, and it's going to take you to yahoo.com. So whenever you type yahoo.com, you as a human knows these letterings, but the browser doesn't know this what is Yahoo. So what it does is it contacts the DNS server, which has all the listing of the IP addresses. Give me 1 second. Let me close this window here. Okay, so what we're gonna do is remember one time I was able to type the IP address. One time we set up this thing here, right? What is this thing called? Apache. We set up Apache, and then we are able to go in there as a IP address. But I was typing in the name also, right? I was typing in the name, using the name if I could go in there. Okay, so I wasn't able to go, even though I have typed this in there. So let me go ahead and set up Apache, then I could show you better. Let me start this. Okay, you type host name, and host name is redhat.local. So I'm going to change the host name here, okay? cd vi slash etc slash sysconfig slash network. Okay, in here, I'm going to change the host name to apache.gmpt01.com .local. Okay. And then I'm going to vi one more file, etc slash hosts. And then in here, I'm going to type 192.168. Oh, shoot. 192.168.10.239. And then I'm going to give the name here. I'm going to copy this. So now I'm going to set up Apache, okay? So yum install httpd-y, okay? Okay, so this is on. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and type this in the browser here, see if it's going to work. Okay, it's not working yet because we have to complete the setup. So I'm going to type service httpd status, and it says services stopped. So what I'm going to do is start, and then I'm going to check the status. Service is running. Okay, and let's go ahead and try it again. So what we have to do next is we have to follow the whole thing down under. So I'm going to type chk config, and then I'm going to grep for IP tables. Okay, so the IP table is on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the IP table off. Okay, and then you see now it was on, now it's off. Okay, and then I'm going to do status. Okay, so the IP table is on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop it. And then let me check the status. So IP table is what? A firewall. It's not running anymore. Okay. And then in the browser, see, all of a sudden you have this. Right now, since DNS is not set up, the phone book DNS is nothing but a yellow pages phone book directory. The moment this is set up, it's coming up here, right? So let me see. Um, host name. Okay, so host name is this, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna restart the system now, because we changed the host name and I want to see if it's gonna go through the host name, because it's going fine with the IP address, right? But as a humans, we don't remember those IP address because it's a long number. It's just like phone number. If you save my phone number into your cell phone, usually you save it with the name, right? You're not going to save it with the number, because you could remember so many numbers. After that, it's going to be very difficult for you to remember the numbers. But if you want to dial somebody, you just search for their name and then just dial the number. You're not gonna be remembering numbers all the time for the people. Did you get it so far, Bashar?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let me. Okay, look, this is the host name. Okay, okay, hold on. It stopped, right? Okay. You see here, it's working with the IP address. Okay, let me close this and let me put in the name. Okay, apache.zmpt01.local. Actually, it's not working because it's going into Google. If it had worked, it would have automatically gone in here. It will have automatically gone into this page. Okay, so it's not working. So it's good doing the regular Google search. Now watch. This is going to start working once we set up a DNS server. For DNS server, every company has something called master DNS server, and then they have other servers, which is called slave. So on the top one, we're going to set up master, on the bottom one, DNS slave, and then I'm gonna show you how this really works here. Okay, so for master, let me clear this, and then I'm gonna do yum install bind. Yeah, there are like 3 or 4 utilities I'm downloading at the same time. Bind.utils, bind -chroot -y. So this is one, this is another one, and this is the third one. So I'm downloading 3 simultaneously. Okay, I'm following this here. I'm on number 1. Okay, before that, these are the files we're going to be working on, and these are the utilities packages we are installing. So we are installing 1, 2, 3 simultaneously, and this is the name of a service, and the port number is 53, and hit enter. Since we gave -y, is not going to stop and ask us if you really wanted to install or not. We're just going to continue on. Okay, so it's saying that install bind. It installed it and installed all the dependencies for it. Okay, and here also it installed installing bind, installing this, and then it installed something extra, which is the dependencies. So we are good here. It says here completed. All right, so next step is we have to edit the network file. So let's go in there and edit that. Okay, so we're gonna follow this here. So we're gonna name the host name DNS master1.gmpt.com. Okay, I'm gonna copy exactly the same DNS master1.gmpt.com. Okay, we're gonna save and exit, and then we're gonna do the same thing to host file. And then here I'm gonna delete everything here. Okay, and then I'm gonna start fresh, and then I'm gonna type this in here. Before that, you have to know the ifconfig. You have to know the file name, I mean the IP address. So you have to type the IP address of this host. Okay, so I'm gonna delete this. Okay, the reason this is not matching is because this was at the moment whatever was the IP address. Here our IP address is 10 dot, everything is same, but last 2 digits is different because this is coming from the router. Okay, let me clear this up. Okay, let's type hostname. Hostname is still the old name, right? So let's go ahead and change the hostname here. I'm gonna go just type this, the command hostname space dnsmaster1.gmpt.com. And then now if I just type hostname, it will show you dnsmaster1.gmpt.com. This one is a master server. The bottom one, we're gonna set this up as slave here. So we're not there yet. So we're gonna go ahead and edit this configuration file, name.conf. And where is this file at? This file is sitting on etsname.conf. Okay, so we have to go in there, and then we have to type this exactly the way it looks here. I have worked in here a little bit so that we don't have to stress out too much. So what you have to do is you just copy the whole thing here exactly the way it says, and here come down here where it says options. And then, you know what, just don't copy the whole thing. Just make the changes where it's whichever one is highlighted. Okay, so go in here. Okay, then you to insert, and the IP address you're going to type is 192.168.10. That one has a 101, so but we're going to type 239. Okay, and then semicolon. This is really important, how you place the semicolon and all that. Okay, and then the next one is on local. So this one you have to type 192.168.10.0/24. Okay, this part you're typing in identical because this part is also the same. So we are starting from 0 to 24 parts. Okay. All right. Okay, I forgot the semicolon. So make sure if there is a semicolon, you have to put semicolon too. Okay. All right. We're good here. I'm going to save and exit. 239. Oh, this one is 237. So let me go back and change it to 237. It's really important that you put in the correct number. Did I put in the correct number in here? 237, good. Okay, I don't have to put anything here. Okay, now there is another file that you need to configure here. So the file which is sitting, which you need to configure is name.rfc.1912.zones. Okay, you hit enter, and then that's the file you're going to configure. And then you go down there where it says zone. Here you put the zmpt.com in there. Okay. You copy all this on a new line, okay? Copy the whole thing. Okay, from here, zone.zmpt.com, and then all this looks good to me. Okay. Save and exit. And then we're gonna have to go into this folder here. Go into this folder, and then you do ls. Okay, what we are after is, we are after the file name, file named local, name.local.host. Okay, what we're doing is we're copying this file and we are renaming it to zmpt.flz. Okay, let me run this command first, then I'll show you what this means. Okay, it has copied this file here, and then named this one. Okay, so let's see here if the file is there. Now the file wasn't there before, now the file is here. So what FLZ stands for is forward lookup zone. FLZ stands for forward lookup zone. So I'm going to edit this file here. I'm going to edit this file so that we continue on with configuration. Okay, go ahead and copy all this from here exactly the way it is. All right, I'm going to delete everything out. Insert. Okay, now what we're going to do is, remember one of our other ones, DNS master. Okay, so we don't have these many DNS masters here, so I'm gonna just comment those out. We just have only DNS master 1. Pound. Or I just delete all these then. And then this one is what? This one is 237. Okay, we are following everything as in here, but IP address we cannot be able to map the IP address because the IP address is different. Okay, let's see here. All this looks good. Okay, hold on. We may have to give the spaces and everything. What I'm doing now is I'm going to space this out exactly the way it looks in there. So I just did tab and all those looks good. Now I'm doing tab so that it aligns with those other ones. Okay. All right, this looks good. So what I'm doing is I'm just aligning the way it looks here, okay? Just to make sure all this is going to work good. $237. In this example, I have set up like many of the DNS masters here, but I'm going to set up only one here for this class. Okay, and then number 12 is name check zone. So we just have to type this command and see if it's going to verify that. Okay. Okay, that means it's loading and it's working. Whatever we did up here, it's working here. See here, zone ZMPT load 1, serial 1, it's okay. That means our configuration is working so far. And then in the same folder, I'm going to copy this file and then ls. So we have this file here, ZMPT FLZ. Okay, then I'm going to copy this file again and then name it to, okay, I have already copied it. So now the first one was FLZ. FLZ stands for forward lookup zone and RLZ stands for reverse lookup zone. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and edit that. Again, copy this as is, most of this. I'm gonna delete. I'm gonna paste. And then I'm gonna okay. I'm getting carried away, so I'll just leave this one here. And then this is what? Not 101, it's 237. Okay, and in here, I'm going to change this to 237. Okay, if you notice this, there is a little bit of, this is going through the IP, forward lookup zone, using the IP, and the reverse lookup zone is, it's using the name of the server, okay? Remember this. Forward lookup zone is IP, reverse lookup zone is using with the name. All right. Okay, and then I'm gonna run this command to see if it's working. And then I'm gonna run RLZ. Okay, so I type forward lookup zone and reverse lookup zone, both of them are working. And then the third one, number 20 is there is a file you have to change the configuration in. It's called resolve.conf. Okay, what are we changing in here? We are changing the search name. Okay, so this file may give us a problem later on, but we'll see how it's gonna go, okay? When you're doing this, this is how it's set up on your system. So let me go ahead and delete this. Search, it says local. So I'm gonna change it to zmpt.com. And then the server is gonna be 192.168.10.237. Okay, remember we are changing it to 237 because right now this is what's the name of the server is, 237, not the name, I mean IP address. So this is when it was when I was making this document, but right now it's 237. Okay, you just simply save and exit. Okay, and then we're going to restart the service. Named is service is the name of the service. So we're going to, before we start, we're going to check status, and then it's stopped. So what we're going to do is we're going to restart. Oh man, it failed. Unknown option, zmprotech.com. Let me restart it again. Okay, we may hit a problem here. So let me just continue on to number 23 and see what's going to come up. 23 is 237. Okay, let me stop the IP tables. Service IP tables stop. Okay, it stopped. chk config IP tables off. It's off now. So I just disabled the firewall, and then let me restart this service here and see what happens. etc named. Okay, I'm not worried about that. We'll come back to that later, okay? After we set up the DNS slave here. And this is a different host. I'm onto a different host now. I'm working. Let me see the host name. ifconfig. And the ifconfig for this is 238, okay? Let me clear this. So I have to go into edit this file via etc hosts. I deleted that, everything in there, and then I'm going to copy this. And then I'm going to change it to 238. And then I'm going to go into this configuration file here, network, and then I'm going to change that there. So it has like red hat.local, so I'm going to change it to the dnsslave.zmpt.com, okay? dnsslave.zmpt.com. Okay, and then I'm going to save and exit. Now I'm going to install bind. Yum install bind, and then when I put asterisk, anything that's related to bind is going to install -y. I'm on number 4 here. In configuring the DNS slave, I'm on number 4. All right, looks like it's done installing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit the name.conf file. And then here, I'm going to delete all this. I'm going to delete from here, okay? Oh no, I'm not going to delete anything in here. So I'm going to go in here and then just change in the things which are highlighted. So I'm going to type in 192 192.168.10.238. Okay, remember that 238. And then in here, localhost is saying is same thing, 192.168.10.238. Okay, I keep forgetting to add semicolon here. It's very important you type exactly the way it is. Semicolon. Okay, leave everything else alone and then save and exit. Now you're configuring this file here. Okay, let's go ahead and go in there. In here, you're typing the zone. You're going in there and copying all this thing here directly. Okay. So for here, DNS master 101, change it to 237. The one for this one, this is a master. See, we have 237. So we are making the connection from here to here, 237. Okay, and so is here too. DNS master is going to be 237. 237. You know what? I kind of copied this garbage too. Delete this. Delete this. Delete this. Delete this. See, it has copied what's in the middle here, right here. This was unnecessary. So make sure you just copy this and then again this. Okay, let me make sure that's what it is. gmpt.com. Okay, 237, 237. Okay, good. All right, now I figured it out what was the problem here. So I go in here, go all the way in the bottom, and this was all the garbage I was supposed to be deleting it. now we are still working on the slave here. So on the slave, on the DNS master, I have to do this again. I have to go in there, and it's the same file. Okay, now you see I'm just adding these lines here. Okay, allow this much information. So I'm delete this, allow update, and instead of this I'm going to type 237 230 I'm sorry 238. So what it says is anything that's changed in the master, allow it to the slave 2. Slave is 238. Keep typing ifconfig. It says 238 here. So it's going to make changes here and then notify 238 also, which is slave. And then go down here and then almost the same thing. Just copy the whole thing here. Here. And then let's delete this. Okay, I didn't do anything. Whatever up here is this is a forward lookup zone file and this is a reverse lookup zone file. So I'm following this document and then allowing the access in here too. Okay, to me everything is matching. All right, let's go ahead and save and exit. Okay, resolve.conf. Okay, this one is already configured here. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change it in here. So this one has search zmpt.com, and then the IP address is 192.168.10.238. Okay, remember we are changing the last digits here because this is no longer valid here, but the reason we are changing this is because the IP address for this host is 238. And we're just replacing it. We're just managing all this here. Instead of 230 111, we're typing in 238. Okay, so let's go ahead and disable the firewall. Service IP tables status. Okay, so it's on. So I'm going to stop it. And I'm going to check the status again. The firewall is not running, which is good. And then I'm going to restart the service. name dot restart. Good, it started up again. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into this folder here. Var named slaves. Okay, so there are no files in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and restart the service here. I'm going to start this service here. Whenever I start this service, the configuration files from here will copy over to here. So this is the primary host and this is the backup host. Slave is the backup. So let's see here. If I start this service and then let's do ls. There you go. It's a success. So whenever we are having any change configuration in the host, and this is the top one, the master is sitting in the main headquarters, and the slaves one are sitting across the offices, the small offices throughout the country. And if any changes here, then it will change, it will start updating it here, okay? Now, let's see if it's gonna work for us. Remember, we made Apache, right? And this is the host name here. Let's see if it's gonna work again. Okay, it's not working because it's going directly onto the so what you have to do is you have to change the wherever the DNS is pointing towards. So you have to change the resolve.conf in here. Okay, so this is going into the this is going into the Comcast. The 75, this is like Comcast address. So you have to change this to the master one. 10.192.168.10.237. Okay, and then what are we searching for? zmpt.com. zmpt.com. Okay, and let's see here. Okay, it may take a minute or two, or let's see here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to restart this. Bashar, what is the command to restart? You there? All right. It's going to reboot. Let me go ahead and restart all these services here. Okay, so it's restarted. Okay, so I have to restart the Apache service. Which one is that? HTTPD. So what I'm going to do is start. Okay, let's see here. Host name. Ah, there you go. It did it on its own. Let's see if it's going to do it with the IP address. I mean with the name. It's not doing with the name here, probably because we have to make some changes somewhere in the DNS entry. So let me go ahead and try changing things around here in there and see if it's going to help. But let's see here. Resolve.conf. Okay, the culprit is this is Comcast. It keeps changing itself. So it keeps changing itself because the IP address you're getting it from Comcast is causing the problem. Before that, let me go ahead and go in here and see if I could add that in there manually. I'm already in there. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna type host name A 192.168.10.239. Okay, I'm making a DNS entry in here. Okay, let me save and exit. That was on a forward lookup zone, and then I'm going to do it on the reverse lookup zone too. Let me just copy this. Reverse lookup zone. .239 PTR. Okay. Damn it. The reason it's going there is because I have to Let me do it real quick. Damn it. Let's do it here. One other way it might work is if I do ping and then okay. See, I am using the NS lookup way. So it's looking the NS lookup and it's working actually. Let me type this in there in the browser and see if it's going to work. Okay, for me to be able to demonstrate this, I would end up getting disconnected. How am I going to do this? All right, let me do something here. Hold on. I'm going to shut all this down. No, it's not going to work. Give me 1 second here. Okay, for now it's not working, but what I'm trying to demonstrate is not working. But it is in principle is working, because when I type NSLOOKUP, and when I type this IP address, which is the IP address for this host, it is bringing us back the name of the host. If it's able to do that, then it's working. The reason it's not working is because the DNS server on here keeps changing itself. Even though I change it here, it's gonna go back to. Let me change this here. Okay, hold on. Let me change this to this. Okay, let me try a different browser. Okay, actually it's working, but I am not able to demonstrate it because this part is not working. How I'm gonna do this? Let me restart this one more time and see if it's gonna fix this. Okay, see, this thing keep going back. All right, let me try without changing it.
better. I was looking up the the IP, and I mean the issue with it changing the DNS, or I mean sorry, the IP address to the dynamic IP instead of the static IP. So um, there's a couple of things that it says that you could do to change it, and I don't know if this applies to this particular version of Linux, but it says if you can uh, open up the etc network interfaces file and then go to the boot proto and change the DHCP to none, the IP ADDR, and change the address to a static IP address,
And
and then netmask change the address to the correct the subnet mask, and then change the gateway line to the correct gateway address.
okay, let's try that. Mm, oh, this one is ETH. ETH1 is not showing up, that's why.
Okay, so there's the boot proto.
Okay, what does a boot proto want to be?
Um, hold on.
On boot, yes, but boot proto you want to be static, right?
Uh, change the DHCP to none.
No, yeah, I put it to, well, let's do this. Okay, so boot proto is set as DHCP. What is it saying there? None?
Yeah.
Okay, and on boot, yes. Does it
Yes.
have a UUID?
Um, I didn't see one. Let me look.
Yeah, UUID is not necessary.
No.
Okay, and a hardware
Just
address.
make sure that the IP ADDR is the static IP. So that would be the 168. Sorry, 192.168.10.237, right?
I'm working on 238, so
Oh,
let's.
238. Sorry. Yeah.
No, this is 239. Sorry.
Yeah, we're using so many.
Is it asking you to
I
change
kind of
for
lost
the
track.
master too?
Let me see.
237,
Just
238.
the net mask and the gateway. So just to make sure that you have the correct subnet mask and the correct gateway. But no, it doesn't say anything about changing the master.
Okay. It failed.
Uh, I mean, I think the master it should match, right? So maybe maybe it's not really giving all the detail from this.
Yeah, the thing is, in this test environment, we won't have all the necessary things here because we are not like exclusive internal network. we have this Comcast, and they have this router here. So what it does,
Yeah.
it will overwrites itself.
Right.
So, but you get the idea, right? So when I'm typing this address in there, it would have worked. It is working actually. When you type nslookup, and then you type the IP address, it may not work now since we are have already changed it. Oh, come on. Let me. Okay, 239 is still there. Now it's not working because we made some changes in there. Okay, we already screwed this up here, but you get the idea that when you configure all this here, that instead of going using IP address, it will use the name. I'll try to configure our rest of the week and then see if I'm able to get through this. But one of the thing you are able to know that is on the slave, when you type ls, remember in the beginning when the slave was configured, these two files didn't exist. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and delete this on slave here. What happens is master and slave constantly communicate with each other. Oh shoot, I'm doing it in the wrong place. I should have done that. Good. This is slave, right? ls ls-l rm-rf. Okay, whenever I do any changes in here, so let me just restart the service. Okay, now if I do ls, hmm, oh shoot. Okay, so what happened here is it has the DNS server on the Comcast. It keep overriding it. So we go to vi etc/resolve. Okay, this one is good. 238. Okay, so hosts. Okay, this one is good too. But the host name has changed itself. So what I'm going to do is try to change the host name. Host name. Sysconfig network file. It's there too. Okay. You see those files came back? That means whatever changes it has happened here, it will come back here. Remember a moment ago I removed this, there was nothing in there. Let me try removing it again. So nothing is there. Let me restart the service. And let me do ls again. And it's there. So the important thing is in this demonstration, it didn't work, but I'll figure it out and by next class try to bring it back up here because I have to go into my router and then I have this router here. I'm going to log in. I forgot the login here. I'll figure that out by next week and then I try to get this going. Okay, so DNS is a kind of tough thing. They don't expect you to remember too many things about DNS. But in the questions, you have some DNS related questions in here. If you just answer those, you'll be in good shape. Right here.
Zafar, I think there's one other thing. I was looking it up, and we could try this. Um, if you go into the ETCH and then the ETH0, pull up
Mhm.
the file for the and go into 0, and then it says iFace ETH0 iNet static. So iFace space ETH0 iNet space static.
Yeah, it's not here. Which version are you looking for? 7 or 6?
Um. Oh yeah. I guess this might be with Ubuntu.
Yeah,
Maybe it
Ubuntu
won't
may be
work.
like different there. But don't worry, I'll try to figure it out by next week and see if it's gonna work, okay? But the idea
Okay.
is, but the idea is whatever you have in here is the perfect example of how to set up a DNS slave and master, okay? And
Right.
then all these are like masters, so you could have like so many masters, and then you could have so many slaves too. Or at least you have to have at least one master and one slave for you to be able to get going, okay?
Right.
All right, so I'm gonna end here and I'm gonna upload the videos. If you are running into any problems, anything, let me know.
Okay.
All right, all right, I'm gonna stop it now.
Thank you.
Okay.